And today we unveil another game based on the Quake 2 engine.
Kimberly, come in. Are you okay?
We got the power.
You're now listening to RetroGaming Radio.
Welcome to RetroGaming Radio, your comprehensive online source of everything classic gaming, from consoles to computers, from arcades to video games. I'm Shane R. Monroe, your host. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the first RetroGaming Radio show of the new year. I'd say new millennium, but then all I'd be doing is opening my mailbox up to the endless barrage of messages reminding me that the real turn of the century is next year. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter. The stupid Y2K media hype is over. Praise the maker. And those of us in the PC industry knew that January 1, 2000 would be just another day, despite the hype, fear, and costly, pointless hoarding that was underwent these last couple of months. I hope those out there with a month's supply of food in the cellar, a $500 generator that Home Depot won't take back, and the empty bottle of Pepto in the medicine cabinet are pleased with the outcome. Well, that's enough ragging on the Y2K bit. As fun as it is, we've got much better things to talk about. This episode begins a new medium of playback for Retro Gaming Radio Show, obviously, in the Flash 4 format. The reasons for this changeover are many. First, no limitations to the number of streams I can play back, like Real Server has. Many people have turned away from real networks after the privacy invasion that happened recently, and many have written that they would like to see a new format for the show. The widespread and free availability of Flash makes it a good neutral format. I'm certainly not ready to embrace any Microsoft product like ASF or NetShow, no thank you. So the only real viable format is Flash. The beauty of Flash is severalfold. First, as Flash 4, I can stream MP3 audio during the show. This offers higher quality than Real Player does, plus it will load on demand. I can offer more rich visuals and still offer my screenshots and such during the show, for those of you that actually watch it. The downloads will be decent sized as well and can be viewed right from the comfort of whatever browser you happen to cherish, even my buddy Opera. Sorry that I'm using Flash 4 instead of the more widespread included with the browser Flash 3 plugin, but I needed the benefits of streaming MP3. I hope you find the new format refreshing and easier to stream and enjoy more than ever. Thank you for your continued support. Now let's get an update with the Classic Gaming Gauntlet. The contest is over, as many of you already know, and the winners have been announced. I'd like to go ahead and name them here on the show. The winner of the Custom Arcade Panel 2 Arcade PC Controller is Aaron Kirkpatrick from Lisbon, Indiana, who incidentally is the name of a good friend of mine's little boy. No relation. Jack Larson took the Stick-It PC Arcade Controller for his efforts. Jackie Larson took first prize. A copy of the Dragon's Lair Deluxe Pack CD-ROM from Digital Leisure was his or her pick. Jeremy D. Pecta, that's a tough one, won the second prize from Intellivision, the great Intellivision CD-ROM and Party Pack from Intellivision Lives. Finally, our lucky winners of the autographed Buckner and Garcia Pacman Fever and Retro Gaming Radio CD-ROMs were Jody Hernandez and Matt Sager. Congratulations to all the winners, and thanks to the over 200 contestants that ran the gauntlet. And, of course, a bigger thanks go to our great sponsors, Custom Arcade, Stick-It, Intellivision Productions, Digital Leisure, and Buckner and Garcia. I had a great, rewarding time running the contest, and God willing, we'll run more in the year to come. So what's on the agenda for the show? Man, we've got a bunch to talk about. We're going to look at the new, and that's right, the word new, Atari 2600 Pacman. Yep, that's right. Some good folks decided that Pacman on the 2600 sucks, and they decided to build a better mousetrap. Well, ghost trap anyway. People liked the PlayStation review last show, so we'll take a look at the Arcade Party Pack, featuring great classic arcade game recreations, including 720 Degrees, Clack, Smash TV, Super Sprint, Tubin, and Rampage. We'll do some updates with some of the emulators going on out there, and also with the retro hardware people like Custom Arcade, Stick-It, Hanaho. Oh, heck, we got tons of stuff, so let's just get into it. Developing for yesterday's systems. Well, the concept of homebrew games for classic gaming units like Atari 2600 and Lynx, even for modern systems like N64, this is the first time I've ever heard of a new version of an old game being done because, quite frankly, the original version sucked so bad. Enter the new Pacman for the Atari 2600. Ron Corcoran, frequenter of Retro Gaming Radio and ruler of Snipercade, started developing a new version, and then, when strapped down for time, turned the code over to another programmer. what emerged is nothing short of brilliance. A quick recap of Atari 2600 Pacman. For those of you that remember the 2600 version of Pacman, know it was probably the worst possible port of Pacman ever ported into the home. There have been versions of Pacman, or a blatant ripoff, for every console, computer, and video game system in the world. I think even KC Munchkin on the Odyssey 2 was better than Atari's Pacman. Yet amazingly enough, the cartridge rode on the coattails of its name alone and became one of the best-selling cartridges of all time for the 2600, despite its ability to look and sound nothing at all like its namesake. For those of you who have never had the displeasure of seeing Pacman for the 2600, let's just say it sucked and leave it at that. So, what can I say about this new Pacman? All I can say is, wow, what a completely new game. Check out the screenshots. We're going to pan those through the background as per normal that are being displayed. All of the worthless inaccuracies in the original 2600 Pacman are gone. The maze is accurate. Pacman looks and acts like Pacman. The sound effects are close to the real arcade game. Heck, just about every possible way you can improve the game has been done. And even the attract mode is there, although it's a bit different than the arcade game. It's still pretty cool. Naturally, this product will never see a commercial distribution and will probably never be playable on anything but an Atari 2600 emulator. Well, it looks like a whole new game. You can bet a whole lot of old code is in use, namely Ms. Pacman code, and it would be ugly to distribute this product to the public. However, if you have an Epron burner, some time, and some skill, you could probably make a playable cart for your own use. And just don't expect it to show up on the shelves of Babbage's anytime soon. And if you scour the net, you can find a copy of that. It's not hidden. In fact, I'll probably put a link to it off of Monroe World in the links area. The pain and suffering we saw in the last couple of years with IDSA and game manufacturers coming down hard all seem to make sense now. Retro gaming is in. In fact, video game systems of every make and model, from handhelds to consoles, are shoveling out classic game collections and remakes on a weekly basis. While early attempts at classic gaming on the PC were not successful, Williams Arcade Classics, for instance, the advent of emulators and the classic gaming craze woke up the console manufacturers, and the crackdown began, and so did the ports. Namco to Konami, Acclaim to Hasbro, who owns about almost all the classic games now anyway, have gotten their hands in the retro gaming pie. The good news for you and me is, first, that they've laid off the emulation scene, and second, they're putting out some pretty damn good products for your favorite console and handheld. In a previous show, we looked at Namco's 20th anniversary Pac-Man World game for the PlayStation. While the new and improved 3D adventure version of Pac-Man scored good points, the classic arcade mode left something to be desired. So how does Midway's entry, the Arcade Party Pack, fare against its classic arcade brothers? I'm happy to say that it fares well. Let's take a look. Generally speaking, the titles are damn near perfect emulation recreation. Visuals, sounds, and such are pretty much dead on. While most of the games were made by Atari, the name Atari strangely seems to be missing from the lot, like the box and the CD. Let's take a closer look, though, at some of the games. Probably the most anticipated game in this collection was Smash TV, the cult shoot-'em-up classic Williams game that brought the theme of the Killing Game Show to life in the arcade. While Smash TV has been emulated from some time on the PC, although it requires some serious juice from the host computer, and has been ported to other programs of varying degrees of success, the Amiga has been the best one to date I've seen. Playing the game without its native 8-way controllers, similar to Robotron and Black Widow, one for movement, one for fire, has been kind of a drag. With the invent of the Stick-It, Custom Arcade, and other multi-stick arcade controllers, playing this game on the PC has become feasible. But what about those of us with a PlayStation and a crappy old PC? The Arcade Party Pack delivers. With your DualShock controller, featuring 2 analog thumb controllers, you get as close to the real experience as possible. Everything is dead on. Graphics, sound, action. Playing with analog controllers via 8-way digital controllers does prove to be a challenge, as they're a bit too responsive at times. But play it a bit and you'll adapt like a Borg. Now, 720 Degrees was the other game that people have been clamoring about, and I must say it's hard to play with the PlayStation controller. Although its analog thumb control should make the game quite playable to someone good at the arcade game, it didn't work out for me. Let's just put it that way. Tubin is another game that was pretty much dead on, and the great game Clax, which is one of my favorite games on the Lynx, which is sort of a Tetris spin-off port type thing, was was very well done in this package. Super Sprint is a great recreation. However, as an owner of a real Super Sprint cabinet, I can tell you it is very unplayable with anything other than a steering wheel, at least once you get used to it. Also, the graphics are a bit high-res for your average TV, so it tends to wash it out and look mushy. On a composite monitor, it's pretty decent, though. I would not buy this package for Super Sprint. Play it emulated on your PC if possible. Well, on the topic of the PlayStation in general, you might have noticed in your favorite game or emulator the support for PlayStation controllers. Now, most of us scratched our heads at this one at the time until I learned that there are PlayStation to PC adapters available, and you can even utilize the vibration portion of the DualShock controller. This allows you to play great games like Smash TV and Robotron inside of MAME and other emulators and programs that support the controller. Now, I got mine from this website, www.toad.net/tilde, that's the little squiggly line, JAFU, as in Jafu. He builds to order, so don't expect to be able to order 100 of them for your favorite PlayStation users group. I do believe there are some manufacturers that do it in bulk, so please check your favorite search engine. I prefer dogpile.com myself. But these little guys are great. You just take your PlayStation controller, you plug it into this thing, it plugs into your printer port. You put a 9-volt battery on it, and this is the weird part. If for some reason your parallel port doesn't kick out power, like mine doesn't seem to for whatever reason, a 9-volt battery supplement will give you your DualShock playability. So it's really pretty cool. They're under $10. If you got a PlayStation, you want to take advantage of those controllers on your PC, it's a great time. I think you'll have a blast with it. So what's new with the classic gaming hardware, folks? Well, first, Custom Arcade, makers of the cool, heavy-hitting Custom Arcade controller, has teamed up with Retro Gaming Radio. From now on, when you buy a controller from Custom Arcade, you get a copy of the Retro Gaming Radio 1-year anniversary edition CD-ROM, a big whole $10 value. And no, they won't take it off of the cost of the controller if you don't want the CD. Sorry, that's one of those value-added things. Plus, you get a cool free T-shirt, Custom Arcade T-shirt. You can also buy the Retro Gaming Radio CD-ROM from Custom Arcade directly, and until February 1st, get the free T-shirt when you order. What a bargain. Don't get them buying Retro Gaming Radio CD-ROM. We need Hook. Ray wanted me to let you all know that he's working out some last-minute bugs on the flight yoke. Can you say Star Wars the way it was intended to be played? Custom Arcade will also be hooked up with Retro Gaming Radio and MonroeWorld.com at the Classic Gaming Expo 2000 in Las Vegas this year. The Custom Arcade folks will have huge displays set up to play with their product, and we'll probably have CDs there and maybe some listening stations or something so you can sit down and listen to some old episodes of the show while you're there. All this stuff is in planning stages, so don't take anything for gospel, but we'll let you know when more comes around. This will be in August or September, I do believe, is when Classic Gaming is going to run this year. As for the Stick-It folks, a lot of people have written to me saying they're not taking any orders, Well, there's something new going on under the covers. It's still a couple months away. I'm not really at liberty to talk about it, but I can say it's pretty cool. Of course, we'll do the whole review bit when it comes out, and we'll give you the full scrub on what's going on with Stick-It. Interested in one of those full-sized cabinets to play MAME on? Head over to emuviews.com and check out Jose Q's nice full-size MAME cabinet. He has videos of it online and everything. Get one good look at it, and you definitely will want one. What's new in the emulator world? Well, we've had a couple of versions of MAME come out, and it's pointless going over these since they're strewn all over all the arcade sites or the emulation sites out there, and I'd be just going over common ground. One thing I can tell you, with the addition of PROMs, this is one of these little personal things that I like to bring up. With the addition of PROMs, Top Gunner Slant Jackal now has accurate graphics. In other words, Jeep 1 actually has a 1 on it instead of a 2 on both Jeeps. While it may seem unusual, I don't understand how two people could play the game Top Gunner at the same time with both Jeeps having a 2 on it. You just get confused. I did submit a driver update that has accurate dip switch settings and also removes the colors are inaccurate warning, because I've got the cabinet sitting right here and the colors are accurate. So I'm hoping that the main team will get the driver in pretty soon, because it's missed 2 or 3 different betas now, and I'm beginning to wonder if they're going to put it in at all. Just trying to do my part, folks. I'm trying to participate instead of complain. That's That's the new me. Those of you who are wondering what's going on with Hive and RetroCade, I can tell you that RetroCade, out of the blue, pumped out an OS2 version when nobody was looking. So if you're an OS2 user, would those 5 or 6 of you raise your hand, please? If you're an OS2 user, then you can go pick that up over retrocade.com. And for those of you wondering how the Windows version's coming along, I'd like to be able to fill you in. I just don't know. It's been very, very quiet on the RetroCade mailing list, and I don't really have anything to add. Now, what about Hive? Everyone knows that something's going down the tube with Hive, and Hive is getting a commercial port. And I talked to Larry Banks, and he was grateful enough to disclose the information to me of what he's working on. I, however, under non-disclosure, can't share that with you. Sorry. I can tell you that it's going to be exciting, and a lot of you out there are going to be very thrilled with what comes about with that commercial product. And I can't tell you anymore. I'm going to spill some of it. I don't keep my trap shut. Rain has come out with a couple of new versions. The new CCS 64, the new 2.0 beta has come out. A couple of bug fixes, nothing really major. Actually, the emulation scene, MES has come out with, they've added C64 emulation in there. I'm still waiting for Amiga emulation. Patiently. But I've got UAE and Fellow to tide me over until then. There's been a couple of other advances, but nothing in what Monroe World tends to cover. A lot of things have been fairly quiet. Speaking of Monroe World, you folks have probably noticed that Monroe World got a bit of a facelift. It's still incomplete, but it's progress towards anyway. Lots of folks were wanting some of the other areas back, namely the multimedia files, and so some of the areas got resurrected. Also, my PlayStation and DVD collection are now available online. Alas, due to some weird, continually unnamed cyberstalkers that me and my family seem to be the total core of their existence, the family area has been moved to a password-protected area. Sorry for the inconvenience that might have caused, but I'm sure those of you who are parents, husbands, and devoted family members, understand the concept of wanting to protect your family. So that's what happened with that. MonroeWorld.com also now hosts the official Deluxe Galaga page, which you know, and we may be actually getting Edgar Vidgel's page, the actual author of Deluxe Galaga. He may come over and host with us as well. So we'll be looking forward to welcoming him aboard if that goes through. Speaking of Deluxe Galaga, the official site off of Monroe World took 4th place in Opera Software's Best of the Web Award. My prize is a very cool T-shirt. Thank you, Opera folks, for the cool browser T-shirt. That was kind of a neat little thing. Just I know that's not exactly best of the web or anything, but yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Those of you who are wondering what was ever going to become of AmigaEmulation.com, Monroe World's sister Amiga emulation site, well, you don't have to wait anymore. Amiga emulation has taken a complete overhaul, and suffice to say that the dozens of man-hours that have gone into this rebirth, and a good dozen more will continue, we've actually put together something that's fairly well acclaimed. We've gotten a lot of good reviews back from some pretty heavy hitters. Basically what AmigaEmulation.com is now is your source for things Amiga emulation. I guess that's a big duh, right? Included in the normal fare of config files and your standard help stuff, we've also included and started archiving Amiga CD-ROM covers. We've got a lot of them up there. We've got about 30 up there right now, some very obscure titles, which I think is more than anybody else has on the net right now. And we've got a ton more coming. I've just got to get around to getting them here and scanning the things. We also offer lots of games for download. We are taking the approach of if somebody wants us to remove a game because they're a copyright owner, we'll take it off immediately, no questions asked. However, until then, we're going to basically consider the software abandonware. We do have some supporters behind us already, namely Factor 5, the good folks that brought us BC Kid, Catechus, R-Type. They were also the development team behind Turrican, one of the best-selling Amiga games ever. And we have their blessing to post their stuff up, and we're working hand-in-hand with them on some other exciting little things. So that's really nice. And I'm hoping we'll get more support And if the bad guys come and they want us to start removing stuff, why, we'll remove what we're told to do, and we'll put more stuff up. Right now we have over 75 titles available for download, spanning over like 150 different disk image files and archives, including some very rare, hard-to-find stuff. Now, I did originally, those of you who follow the show, that I was ripping a lot of my own software, things that have been long forgotten. And I put some of those great gems up there, and I've already gotten some responses back from folks saying, man, I can't believe it. I've been looking for this forever. I've never been able to find it anywhere else. Thank you for providing it. So we're really excited about that. We're looking forward to basically supporting the Amiga emulation community. Everything is automated. We're all database-driven now. So there's ways for you to submit your own covers online. Please, if you have Amiga CD-ROMs that we do not have listed, we would really appreciate getting the cover scanned and sending them up to us. We have a lot of games we haven't put online yet. So before you ask us, say, hey, we've got some games you don't have. Would you like a copy? We probably do have them, but we're trying to put up the real unusual and odd stuff. Now, there's going to be some favorites in there, like Defender of the Crown. Those are the gotta haver games for the Amiga. But things like Logical and Kikugi, people haven't even seen these things. I mean, even the diehard Amiga people. So anyway, AmigaEmulation.com is your URL, and I want to thank Dave over at Vintage Gaming for his posts, and Attila over at Retro Games, and of course Jose Q over at EmuViews. Everyone's been very supportive of our reopening, and it's really made a difference. We served over 3,000 people our first day, and that's a great feat. Thank you to all of you for helping that happen. I would like to comment a bit, before I get totally off the topic, a little bit about the merger with Custom Arcade and Retro Gaming Radio. Despite what others may believe, I was approached by Custom Arcade with the concept that they would handle the distribution of Retro Gaming Radio in exchange for allowing the inclusion of the CD with their controller. I'm involved in other ways with Custom Arcade as well. Of course, I can't really talk about that. There seems to be so many secrets these days, half the things I can't talk about. Suffice to say, keep your eyes on Custom Arcade. There are really some cool things coming from them shortly. But I don't do reviews and whatnot for free product. If somebody sent me a game, for free, I'm not going to give them a bang-up review if I don't think it's quality stuff. Most of the stuff I choose to talk about because I think you folks out there would enjoy it or appreciate it. I don't take advertising trades. I don't do any of that stuff. Everything has been done tit for tat. There's been no favors given. It's all been done because either I want to do it, or people have approached me and asked, would you review this? Would you look this over for us? A lot of people have wondered why I haven't done a proper controller review for Custom Arcade on the show. It's because the support software is not done yet. And reviewing an incomplete project is simply in bad taste and is journalistically irresponsible. When I have a completely finished Custom Arcade controller, you will have a review. Custom Arcade wants it that way, and frankly, so do I. But we are getting closer. The Lynx Lagoon, my little site for Atari Lynx enthusiasts, got properly converted to ASP from Perl. And a little update from the good folks over at Songbird Productions. Songbird Productions have announced that they purchased the rights to 3 unfinished Lynx games from Beyond Games. The games are Cyber Virus, Ultra Vortex, and Mech Tiles. So you lucky Lynx handheld owners can rejoice. Your treasured game system is getting some new games. It does a heart good to see the Lynx still has a heartbeat. The Great E3 show is coming up in a couple of months, the ultimate interactive entertainment show closed to the public. This year, however, I think I might actually get to go. Well, I won't be directly affiliated with any of the exhibitors. I'll be hanging out at a couple of booths. Look for PC Arcade controller booths. I hope to see other classic gaming enthusiasts there, too. It should be a good time. I'm still an E3 virgin and all, so I look forward to this de-virginizing to go to an E3 show. There'll be a lot of folks, probably from Classic MU, the channel on FNet, the IRC channel that we all hang out and chat on. I think a lot of them will be there, too. Should be a good time. Speaking of expos, the Classic Gaming Expo in Las Vegas, as we mentioned earlier, is coming up this summer. And, man, what a show it looks to be. Not only will your favorite classic gaming software and hardware be there, like Hanaho and Custom Arcade, Blue Sky Rangers, and others, but Ron Corcoran over at Snipercade will apparently be running a live Atari 2600 tournament through Twin Galaxies. Yeah. due to my close proximity to the show, I'm planning to attend as well. Maybe, like I said, maybe have a listening booth for Retro Gaming Radio, and along with Custom Arcade's killer booth. Heck, I'd like to get a ColecoVision tournament going, but who knows? In fact, if we work it out right, we may be doing a live Retro Gaming Radio telecast from the show, bandwidth compliments of Jose from EmuViews, who I also gather is going to attend. So if you've ever wanted to meet Jose of EmuViews, the great guy that he is, you'll want to come to the show too. It's still a bit early to make definite plans, but we're definitely thinking about doing all this stuff. Apparently, Rick Dyer may show up and give us some looks at his new Dragon's Lair 3D game for the PC and PlayStation 2, which is going to be ported to the Mac and all these other things, so hopefully we'll get a look at that. So Classic Gaming Expo 2000, Las Vegas, somewhere in August, I do believe. That's going to be the place to be this summer. Totally off the topic, since we talk about retro stuff off the topic every now and then, I picked up the Logan's Run DVD. And if Logan's Run ain't retro geek stuff, I don't know what is. For those of you who are wondering how that old of a movie would look on DVD, I'm here to tell you that it seriously rocks. The audio commentary with the director, it's a clean transfer, but there's not much more in there in terms of extras. It's widescreen, of course. If you've been thinking about picking it up, I highly recommend it. I've never seen this film look as good as it does. For the last segment of the show, no, we're not going to have a flashback this episode. It's too long as it is. I want to tell you a recent story of classic gaming bliss. You know Ron Corcoran from Sniper Cave. We talk about him. He's an occasional guest host. Well, a buddy of ours from work knew this guy that used to work for Coleco, way back when the ColecoVision and Atom ruled supreme. It seems this guy more or less had one of everything: cards, expansion modules, controllers, disk drives, printers, just about everything made for the ColecoVision or the Atom. He turned the whole stack over to Ron. Yeah, lucky bastard. In the interest of sharing this stuff, of course, Ron was nice enough to have me over, and we pooled through it, and there's a good list of it all on Sniper Cave. Man, prototype cartridges and more Atom stuff that I never even knew existed, including a floppy and cassette version of Dragon's Lair, just collectibles for us freaky Laserdisc video fans. More important to the emulation community, overlays and manuals to ColecoVision games. Lots of manuals, lots of overlays. Nicely enough, we're working on getting these items scanned up and available to the community. If you go to Sniper Cave, you should find a link over to the Twin Galaxies ColecoVision area that Steve Knox is running. And I have a feeling that all these overlays and the manuals that we scan are going to end up over there. At this time, we're not sure when, but we'll let you know. There's a lot to be done. There's some severely kick-butt treasures in all of this, and Ron has pictures on his site, including an Atom, 2 Atom floppy drives and a printer. Amazing. Anyway, Ron rocks. Thanks to the donator of these goods, in case you happen to be listening, right? They will be taken very good care of. Very good care of. Anyway, well, one more thing before I take off here. I'm going to try to wrap this episode up because we've been running this thing for almost a half hour. I was trying to keep these shows a little bit shorter and more frequent, but it seems how that's not going to be working out very well. I ran across a gem, and there's a link to it. It's an odd URL, or I'd give it to you here. If you go over to AmigaEmulation.com and go to the Amiga links area, there is a link to a place called Jim's Amiga page. And it kind of got that GeoCities feel, so but go to it. It's worth it. They have actually 3, this is great, they have 3 Amiga television commercials in AVI format that you can download. And I thought Commodore never advertised. Well, they didn't advertise enough, but I've never seen any of these 3 commercials. What a gem these turned out to be. You can nip over there and pick them up. I'm going to probably try to find some place to post them somewhere in the Monroe World community. Probably in the multimedia area, because frankly these are just too cool to pass up. So you want to get over there. And there's also another link to another place called the Amiga Interactive Guide. If you guys want the entire straight scoop about Amiga, everything that's happened from day one, the prototype machines that were never released, the conceptuals that never got even into prototype, the rumors dispelled, interviews of famous people, this site is just the bomb. So you want to go over and check that out too. That's also available in the links area. I would like to offer up to the Retro Gaming Radio community, if you have an Amiga game request and it has not been already deemed as you can't post it by the copyright owner, drop us a line, webmaster@monroeworld.com, and we'll see about filling your request. I can't promise anything. Well, I have a lot of Amiga stuff here. I may or may not be able to help you, but especially to my listeners, I'd like to help you out. And if you have that weird Amiga title that you remember and you want it posted, why, I'll see what I can do for you. It's been really, really busy. And I do apologize, this episode of Retro Gaming Radio was so late. But as you can see by AmigaEmulation.com, I've been relatively busy. Plus, we've been really busy doing the celebrity stuff, too. And we've got some new stuff coming from the celebrity folks. And I can't, again, tell you about it, but it's in the planning stage. And it's going to be cool, especially for those of you who like DVDs. That's your only hint that you're going to get. Once again, I want to thank everybody for sticking through Retro Gaming Radio. Once again, I'm still amazed that people even listen to this stuff. Next episode, what do we got on the ball? Well, we're going to look at the Dragon's Lair 2 DVD video title for your DVD desktop or your set-top box. We're going to look at another classic PlayStation game. We're going to get back to the roots, and we're going to do 8-bit flashback next show. You're going to love it. It's an exciting one. You're going to love it. I'm excited, actually, to do it. I was going to do it this episode, but it's too late. Too long. Anyway, please do check out those folks who have been so good to us, the Custom Arcade folks and Stick It, BucknerandGarcia.com, all the people who've been really generous in contributing to the Classic Gaming Gauntlet and to the success of Retro Gaming Radio. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to be around another year to release that second anniversary episode of the Retro Gaming Radio CD-ROM. Well, that's going to wrap it up, folks. This is Shane R. Monroe from Retro Gaming Radio, MonroeWorld.com. Until next time, keep it retro.